Hello again, Dinky Danny here. Today I'd like to talk about the Nintendo 3DS. As most of you have probably already heard, they're having a significant price drop that's going to start on August 12th, 2011. Initially the 3DS launched at $249 US, and on August 12th it's now going to cost $169. That's an $80 drop, and the main reasons for this is, first of all, the Nintendo 3DS just did not sell very well. It only sold, I think, a little bit over 800,000 units, and for it to not break a million in the first quarter is pretty bad. And also, Nintendo has huge losses in the first quarter, so they're dropping the price, hoping that it's going to sell better. And a few things about this just point out some major flaws in what they've done. So I'm going to discuss it. A lot of people are liking the price drop, and a lot of people are a little bit disappointed about it. I'm a mix of both. The first thing is, how can you go wrong with a price drop on anything? I mean, I'm not complaining about the price drop. I'm really happy that it's going to drop in price. More people are going to be able to get it, and hopefully it'll start to do a little bit better, and they'll, have a little bit more feedback, start creating more games, and getting the thing rolling a little bit. But I do have issues with how they handled it. First of all, to have an $80 price drop in the first 6 months, that's 1/3 the cost of the system. 1/3 of the price is just being cut off right after it was released, which to me just points out that they shouldn't have priced it nearly as high as they did. If they can still make profit or have decent sales at $169, they should have released it at $199 or like $209 or something like that in between, rather than going for a ridiculously high amount and having to realize their mistake and cut it back down so significantly. The second thing about it is the game lineup. Everybody knows Nintendo was trying to give their third-party developers a chance in the beginning when the system first came out. Instead of releasing their Mario and Zeldas and all of that right off the bat, no one would have bought the other third-party games. So they said they were going to allow people, the third-party developers, to release some games. They'd hold off for a little bit, and after a little while they'd start bringing out their titles so that everyone would have a chance and a decent sales. The problem is, it's 6 months later, and they haven't really come out with any major titles. The only one that they released was Ocarina of Time, and that's a remake of an older game. So as far as new games and new lineup are going, nothing's really coming out until September, when they start coming out with the Kid Icarus and games like that. So as far as Nintendo kind of being at a loss right now, you can completely understand why they're losing money on this thing. They only sold 800,000, and the main reason is because they charge way too much to start off with, and second, the lineup of games is pretty bad. I'm a huge fan of Nintendo. I've always been a fan of Nintendo, and not many things that they do disappoint me, but this seriously makes me think, when the Nintendo Wii U comes out, am I going to buy it in the first 6 months or first year? It makes you start to worry. Maybe they're not going to have enough games, and it's not worth buying day one. I buy them day one because I don't like watching other people play them, and to me it's worth it to have the games early, and to be able to play them and be involved in the excitement, being able to see the 3D right when it came out. The other end of it is that people are majorly disappointed that they spent all this money, and in 6 months they could have gotten it for $80 cheaper. Now Nintendo has offered a kind of compensation, and they're actually calling, it's pretty funny, the people who have bought and registered the Nintendo 3DS before August 12th are going to be considered Nintendo ambassadors. And I'm just, I read that and I was just laughing. I thought it was hilarious to call people Nintendo ambassadors. And basically they're trying to reward the people who bought the Nintendo early, because they're realizing that they made a major mess up and mistake, and they're trying to compensate and make people not feel disappointed and losing trust in Nintendo. So what they're offering is that they're going to announce 10 original Nintendo titles available on the Virtual Console that will be downloadable for free by Nintendo ambassadors. So as long as you've registered your Nintendo before August 12th, you'll get 10 free Nintendo games, and then down the road you'll be able to download 10 free exclusive Game Boy Advance titles. Now, this does make me feel a little bit better about purchasing the system early and not really getting completely screwed over, because that's about $100 worth of games that you can get. The only problem I have with it is I spent all that money up front, and then now they're giving me the option to download virtual items. It's not a real tangible item, and as you can see from my shelves, I'm a huge fan of Nintendo. All of the games that they're going to allow me to download on my 3DS, I already own most of them. So for me personally, that's not really much incentive to be compensated for paying all the money early. But for a lot of people out there, I understand that they're going to get a lot of games, and it's pretty good compensation, so I can't be too disappointed with that. And the last thing that I'd like to talk about with it is, as far as me spending the money, I'd like to discuss whether I'm disappointed in the system so far. Because from this discussion, it sounds to people like on Facebook that I'm disappointed with the 3DS. I'm completely not. I'm really enjoying it. I've enjoyed the games that I bought. It's just not games that I want to have to replay in the future. You know, Steel Diver, Street Fighter 4, I'm not going to play those games too much down the road. So I sold those back out. But Pilot Wings and Ocarina of Time, especially Ocarina of Time, I was so glad that I got that day one. I would have been totally jealous of other people playing it. And I don't regret buying the system day one. I can say that right now. I don't regret buying it. And the other thing that kind of compensated for me is if I hadn't had the system early, I wouldn't have been able to get the free soundtrack, the Zelda Ocarina of Time soundtrack for free. That's easily like a $30 value right there. And just to have the games early, it was worth it for me to pay the extra money, have it day one, and experience the 3D, and experience the kind of a revolution in gaming, kind of evolving into 3D in the handheld without glasses. So that's what I think about the price drop on the 3DS. Bottom line, it's a great thing. You can never complain about something getting cheaper, but I can understand why everyone's disappointed as well as myself. It's a little bit disconcerting, and in the future with the Nintendo Wii, I will be considering whether to buy it day one. Knowing me, I'll probably buy it day one because I'll get jealous of everyone else playing it, but I'd be really interested in hearing what all of you have to say, what you think about this situation. The price drops so quickly after the initial release, and just leave comments down below or post video responses. I'm Thinky Dana. Thanks for watching.